No, pero ano tayo, slow down tayo ng konti. Because really, I mean, in all honesty, even myself, I will count myself as this is still 101 for me. No?
Okay.
So let's talk motives. You mentioned kanina, Russia wants to make Ukraine a client state. Very basic question. What's a client state? Can you explain the dynamics there?
Well, basically, it's a state that if we, para sa ano to, sa lingwahe ng mga ano to, ng street na ano to, ay sasabihin natin, tuta ng Russia. Yan, ganun kasimple lang yan. Okay. It's a puppet state, no? Tuta siya ng Russia. And then that's what Russia wants, you know? It wants to turn Ukraine into another, which is basically a pliant tuta state, no? If it can get that, if it can't get that, then just neutralize it, you know? Like what they did to Finland in 1939, 1940, when they launched the Winter War against Finland, parang binugbog nila para maging neutral ang Finland. No? They forced it into neutrality. No? That's what they did. So they're hoping that either they turn Ukraine into isang tuta nila or a puppet of theirs, or if not, something like a forced neutrality. No?
Okay. Right now, the main mode of engagement or pressure is economic sanctions. Those economic sanctions will hit Russia and Ukraine on two fronts. I mean, fuel will be included there, the energy sector, and not to mention wheat. Both countries are top producers and exporters and suppliers of wheat worldwide. That impacts not only fuel prices, but also food commodities, bread in particular. So those kinds of things, even without a military confrontation, how bad can it get for the rest of the world, including us?
It's basically those are questions that will be answered in detail by an economist. But for me, the concern basically is the economic side kasi, I'm a bit optimistic, you know, in a sense, no, that if the conflict is contained in the Ukraine only, the economies of the countries in EU will find a way to adapt. You know, life goes on, you know. Ganun yun, eh, no? As long as the conflict is contained there, you know. There might be a problem with the border states like Poland and Germany and Romania, because sila yung they will have some spillover, you know, that will happen. Maybe an errant missile will slam into German territory or Polish territory, or more on Poland and Romania. Germany medyo, but more on Poland and Romania, no. So those areas would have more heightened security, would have more disruption. But countries in the western side, you know, if they're able to solve their fuel issues, their energy issues, then things can stabilize eventually. You know, maybe a year or less than that. You know, so I'm not exactly that worried. You know. But of course, for countries like the Philippines, well, any price increase is bad for us, you know, because we are not exactly a developed, strong country. So if fuel goes up, you know, kawawa yung mga tao dito. No? I mean, prices go up and inflation happens, and we're already in the midst of a pandemic, so which has brought its economic problems, and then you add fuel price increases to already our battered countrymen, then that's something that's not going to be a welcome for us specifically. But again, but the thing is that again, I would always like to reiterate here that the sanctions, though yes, they are significant, but what will stop the what will stop the Russians on the ground is not sanctions per se, but it's the amount of military aid that will pour through Ukraine from countries sympathetic to it. Yeah? As long as they don't run out of munitions, as long as they are able to put up a good fight wherein they are able to have maneuver territory for cut off, you know, because the Russians will try to do that. They'll try to interdict and cut off the Ukrainians from their sources, you know. But as long as it doesn't happen, then that other aspect of international assistance will continue, and that is quite decisive, which is the military assistance to Ukraine. And it's interesting to see what forms will it take in the next few days.
Okay.
Like, for example, will we see shipments of more to the Ukraine coming from Western governments?